Hey everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Planet Coaster element tutorial, where today, instead of looking at a specific element, we're kind of going to be doing a little bit of a different thing. I'm basically just going to show you a few tips and tricks on how to make smoother transitions in and out of turns and curves and stuff, because I realized that it might be a decent idea to show some basic stuff as well as going into in-depth element tutorials. So this should basically, help you whether or not you're building like a flat turn on a blitz coaster or an Intamin giga drop or whatever kind of turn you want to do. This is basically just a way to get smooth entrances and exits and the banking as well. So yeah, I think we'll dive into it now. So for the first example of a curve in Planet Coaster, the best, well, in this situation would be, say you want to build a Rita style turn after your launch. Well, how do you do that and keep your transition smooth as well as good shaping? Well, thanks to the mod, the easiest way to do this, I find, is to use 1 meter pieces at the very start of the transition. So how we're going to start this is we're going to place 2 flat 1 meter pieces with no turning or anything. Oh wow, that looks really weird without that because it doesn't have those. Anyway, then we're going to go to 2 meter, put a banking offset of about 3 foot on. And what we're going to do is we're going to slowly start to increase the banking. So if we start with about a 6-degree turn to the left, what we're not going to do is, or what you really shouldn't do if you're building a modern coaster, is get to your final banking angle and then start turning, because then that way you're going to put excessive lateral g-force on the riders going into the turn. So what you want to do is start your turn midway through the transition. So here, we're going to bank this to about 17 degrees, start turning at about 4, so we're creating the entrance into the turn, place, increase the banking to about 35, increase that to about 6, increase that again to about 55, and then finally, I guess, to about a value of 70 degrees, it works. But what we want to do is create a lead out. So if we go to about 67 degrees and then snap it up to about 71, we get a smoother transition off there. And then just keep placing that. So that is pretty much the transition into the turn. So how do we get that smooth? Well, the best way of doing this now is, I guess we don't really need to smooth this out that much, but I guess we can. We're going to basically select the whole turn. 1, 2, 3, just hit the smooth 3 times, and that should get the actual shaping of the turn slightly better. And now all we need to do is just increase the banking slightly here, and just readjust it all, so our final values are looking good. Looks pretty good. We got a heart line off there, and radius looks pretty smooth as well. So now, in order to get the actual transition off the straight section smooth, the best way to do this is to turn these, I want to say about maybe these 3 pieces here into 1 meter pieces. That way the initial transition is made of smaller pieces so that there isn't going to be a sudden snap off the straight section into the turn like there would be with a 4 meter piece. And to a degree a 2 meter one as well. So to turn it into 1 meter pieces, you literally just need to do the exact same thing, but it can be kind of fiddly because the pieces may be too big. So a way to combat this is to turn minus banking offset off, and then that shortens the piece, and then you can auto-complete it and then hit spam smooth all. That way, you're going to keep the radius nice and smooth. Now, building with 1 meter pieces is a very experimental kind of thing. It's not been done a lot with the mod yet because, well, the pieces are so small that smoothing them to a degree may not actually do anything. But I can tell you now that I am working on a certain refurbishing of a project I built using 1 meter pieces as kind of a test, and the results I've gotten so far have been very, very impressive. Like, I didn't think you could get a ride as smooth as you can with 1 meter pieces, but I will have more on that soon, and maybe even a video out for that soon, so please stay tuned. Anyway, yeah, so now that we've got the first bit smooth, what we want to do is these 2 pieces here are going to act as our, this piece here is going to act as our 0 degree, so that should be where the transition starts. This piece here is then going to be the one that the banking starts increasing. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to select here, we're going to drag up to the entirety of the turn. I'm going to hit smooth all a few times. And you can already see there, what that's done is it's equaled out all the banking, created a really smooth transition. Of course, the banking isn't great on it, but you know, it's not bad. So we're going to take these 3 pieces here, 90 degree, snap them over. There should be a little bit of wonk there, but that'll go when we smooth it out. And then basically what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly increase the... I just say like fix the banking. So that one was 7 degrees. This one was about 17, I believe. And then you can just equal out the banking using that. So basically what you want to do is you want to try and create a really smooth banking curve up there that slowly increases. So that needs to be way more. And now we just increase that again. Again, keep checking from this view to make sure you've got a nice smooth curve. And then increase that, keep increasing that. Our final value was about 70 degrees. So we just want to try and equal that out. Yeah, there you go, 17.19. Here we go, we've got the heart lining on that. It looks good. I think that might be a little bit too much banking initially there. So I'm going to slowly decrease that. Yeah. See, that looks pretty good to me. And we've got the really nice smooth curve into the... That's going to overbank slightly. So I'm just going to deal with that really quickly. That should work fine. So that is pretty much how you shape the transition. How we smooth it is slightly different. Because this is such a smooth turn, you can actually get away with initially smoothing it out of 3 pieces. But I think just to be safe, I'm going to just go forwards once using 6. Because I don't want to ruin this transition at the start. So we can keep a really nice constant curve. So we just literally increase that. Keep that there. Already you can see it's kept the heart lining, it's kept a really nice curved shape. There might be a little bit of a snap there, but that's probably just because I used 6 pieces. But what we can do is actually, this 6 pieces is really only smoothing out the top bit of the transition. So what, actually I'll probably just leave it there so it's not going to ruin the end, but I'm just going to quickly readjust that. Because there's going to be quite a sudden snap. There you go. So it looks already nice and smooth. So now you just literally start from here with 3 pieces instead and go back and forth. Now the good thing about these transitions is we can use the kind of little banking trick on these as well, because it actually does work surprisingly well. You just have to find the value that switches over to 45 degrees instead of 90 degrees, like on inversions. Smooth that. Smooth that. Is that looking good? That is. Oh, that's really good. Smooth that. Basically just keep going back and forth using that. Wow, that is really smooth. But the problem with Planet Coaster is that it still registers each individual piece as having like a snap in the banking. So even though that looks incredibly smooth, that will still have jitters, annoyingly, which is not how I wanted 1 meter to work, but unfortunately that is how it works. So now to do the banking trick, we just start from backwards and smooth towards the start of the transition. And we need to find the value where it exceeds 45 degrees. It's this one here. So we want to smooth to there and then smooth on that piece there. And if we can, okay, it's very difficult to see because this is a turn. So we can probably use the spine to help us with this, but it's such a thin spine that it might not actually be particularly. I think it's this piece here that is the jolt. Or is it? I really don't. I think it might be this one actually. Yeah, it was that one. So yeah, we just, again, like we always do, find the jolt, slightly increase or decrease the banking to get rid of it, and there you go. That is, well, one way of making a smooth curve in Planet Coaster, so I guess we shall give that a quick test to, ooh, that's go, little quick snappy transition into a turn, pretty smooth as well. It's got heart lining, it's got everything you could possibly want in a turn. In this view as well. Should probably do it in the reverse. Pretty snappy, you know. It's got the. Actually, I probably could get away with removing. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, it's definitely this piece that needs the adjustment. So I bet if we check that now, that will be even smoother than it was. I also think I'm launching this far too fast, which kind of makes it seem a little bit more unorthodox. So, okay, this is like now using a slower launch with none of that. Yeah, there you go, way better. Far, far better in terms of transition. So again, if you look from this view, so much smoother there. Yep. So that is one turn you can make in Planet Coaster, but there are, well, there's another one that I want to show you in this episode, so we'll quickly do that now. So the next type of turn you can do is kind of a Skyrush style, where you reach about halfway down the drop and then the train increases and starts banking. So those can be kind of fiddly to do, so I think I'll just quickly create a Skyrush style lift hill thing. I might do a hyper actually, and that might even be easier to apply with. Why are you only 181 feet tall? That is annoying. 198 feet, wow, that's really close. It should work though. Anyway, so basically we just need to make the drop first, so highly recommend using 4-meter pieces for this. I'm gonna try and match the radius of the drop as best I can. So I look a bit steeper than it. That does. I think I would drop that to about there. Don't need supports for it. And then we increase that to 80. It looks really strange like that, I don't know why. Because this is an Intamin kind of ride, we don't need to worry about the shaping too much because they don't have a specific style, but this isn't really meant to be a how to make an Intamin drop. It's more of just some things to keep in mind when building drops like this, so you can use this on whatever, it doesn't really matter. So now we're just going to start the bottom drop. Probably just going to start going for about maybe 4 or 5 degrees each time. Just maybe actually get away with 6. 60. 64. That's definitely not tight enough. I'm going to start it from up here actually as well. Can I? That's 6. So that's 7 now, so we'll go 7 instead. That is definitely not what I've just not mathed that properly at all. 40. And now, because we're getting to the lower values, we can actually start doing 6. We'll do 6 once and then do 4 because it is going to be a turn. So now that we've reached about 30 degrees down, the best course of action is to actually extend this to an 8-meter piece, so 26 feet. And now, well, we know we were going up by 4, so we just need to go up by double that, which is 8 with this, so 23. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start in a very similar manner to what we did by increasing the banking here to about 6. I'm going to have this testing constantly because I don't want to pull too many Gs on this, which is, I know we don't normally do that, but I'm just going to make sure I'm not pulling too many G-forces on the bottom. We want to probably make about sustained 3. So, okay, that's actually sustained 2, which is even better for a drop like this. So now, that's that. So, how we want this to work is we want to, again, initially bank it a certain amount without turning it. Pull it up to the next value, increase the banking, and then increase the turn. Only about a few degrees. Whilst increasing that and everything. Now we're going to pull this up to 7. This is actually going to clip into the floor slightly, so I will raise it in a minute. And now we just increase the banking again. And the turn too, so just keep doing that. And then we're going to we want to try and level this out at the same value at the same time we reach our maximum vertical angle. Now what is that like in terms of G-force? Is that sustainable, survivable? 3.6 is pretty intense, but it is definitely survivable. I'm going to pull it down to 6 instead. You can deviate from your set amount of, I don't know, degrees you go up by each time. Because you want to try and match you know, hitting 0 with hitting your final angle, which is probably going to be about 75 degrees. That way you get the smoothest transition and no lateral g-force. So I'm going to place that, get that up to 0, and then increase the banking to, I think 66 is the final value. Okay, that's far too shallow. Actually, we can pull that back to about 8 degrees. Get that to 0, increase the banking to about 65, maybe get to 9, and then that's probably our turn. Is that a bit bigger than Skyrush's turn? Well, it doesn't really matter about the g-force. Point is that that is how you do the transition into the turn. So just as we would normally do, we convert the 8 meter into 4 meter and then the 4 meter into 2 meter. So I'll quickly do that now. Okay, so now that I've actually turned that into 4 meter pieces, we can start doing a little bit of smoothing on these just to get the actual radius down and smooth before we end up putting, you know, 2 meter and smoothing it all out. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start smoothing out the actual radius of the drop. So is that actually a banked angle? That is. So I'm going to start from here instead. Actually, no, I can start from here. I'll just have to change it. We're just going to take this and hit smooth all a lot. Actually, I'm going to adjust that slightly because I haven't made that really nice. I haven't made that in shape. I haven't actually really changed that either. That's kind of annoying. It's a lot more difficult to actually change vertical shaping. It does get kind of annoying to do. Right, that should be better. Yeah, that's way better. So now again, yep, take the whole thing but up to the banking value. So about there. Hit the smooth all a lot. This way we can get the actual shaping down of the drop pretty smooth. Hit the 90-degree snap. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select up to about there. About there should do. And then hit the smooth all a lot. And this should smooth out all of the transition between there. We will have some banking adjustment to do, but for now that's fine. I believe the actual angle starts about here, so go to there, snap. Excuse me, there we go. Sometimes you have to bank it over to get the actual final value. Now we're going to start from there and slowly increase the banking. Slowly increase it there. We got 20 degrees there. Start increasing the banking it over. I think, what is our final value? 65 degrees, okay. So, wow, did I select the whole turn? Look at that. Okay, that audio is being really strange this one. 65 there, and then about 58 there, 50 degrees there, and 56. So basically what you want to do is you want to just have the angle of banking increase towards the final value there. This kind of turn can get very annoying to actually build because you may have an inconsistency in your banking which will cause the train to jolt or like do like a two-step kind of banking thing. So a really good way of sorting that out is actually, if I wait for autosave, is starting from here, selecting 3 pieces and actually doing some smoothing while it's still in 4 meter form. That way we can get rid of any banking inconsistencies. If we just go back and forth once with this then should allow us to have a much smoother and more consistent turn when it's in 2 meter, because 2 meter really exaggerates any slight jittering and wobble that you may have. Kind of like in No Limits 2, if you put a roll point next to another one, you get overbank. So this should help to sort that out. So this does mean we have to slightly adjust the top of that again. We go back up to where it should be at 0 degrees. There we go. Smooth that. Smooth that. Alright, that looks actually really nice shaping already in 4 meters. So now that we've done that, we just need to turn it into 2 meter pieces so we can do the final smoothing of it. So now that these are all in 2 meter pieces, all we need to do is select the whole thing and just hit smooth all, maybe like 5 times, 5 or 6 times. So we just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should smooth the radius and the jittering out. So now all we need to do is start smoothing it using 6 pieces, and that should be all right, I think, for now. So I'll start doing that now. Okay, so with 6 pieces, I just went back and forth once, so I'm going to do the same using 3 just to get rid of some of the jitters caused by using 6 pieces, which shouldn't take too long, but I don't think there's any need for the banking trick, because honestly it will just cause more of a jolt than you need it to. That really only works on inversions and stuff like that, but I just think this would be smoother because, again, the train is going to be travelling much faster, so slight jitters aren't going to be as noticeable, and the riders won't experience any sort of jolt if you do that way. So just going to smooth this using 3 and go backwards with it, and then we should be done. Okay, so now that that smoothing's done, that is pretty much the shaping down for the drop. You know, you just need to keep in mind that you need to start your banking with your turning at the same time. Starting with larger 8 meter pieces when building big elements, and then, you know, shortening them down to 4, then 2 is really quite helpful. So yeah, I think we'll just give this a quick test and see what it's like. There you go, there's a really smooth transition there. Really, it's even quite whippy as well. Using guest facing, I guess we can see what that's really like in terms of smoothness. I even think the transition off of the in-game piece was quite smooth as well. Wow, that was incredibly smooth. Whew, that actually took me by surprise. I didn't think it'd turn out that smooth, but yeah, there you go. Actually, you know what? I'm genuinely curious to see what it's like from seat view now, aka Jitter Central. But let's see what it's like. Wow, it's really smooth from there as well. But yep, that is my method in building drops kind of shaped like that. You know, there's also, you know, the turn ones as well, off of launchers and stuff using 1 meter pieces. And then there's also the drop ones as well. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode. I know it was kind of different than going for a set element. I just wanted to throw down some other tips and stuff. I did get a suggestion from this, so thank you very much for suggesting that. And honestly, I'm really happy with how these turned out. I think these will be really helpful for people who just want to build general things instead of, you know, specific elements. This is the kind of things you can just apply to any situation when you're building your layouts. So I hope you do find it helpful. And again, if you need any more help, leave it in the comments. So thank you very much for all the support as well on the channel recently. At the time of recording this, we are at 199 subscribers, which is incredible. Like, it's amazing. We only just hit 150 and now we're here. So thank you very much. Also, thank you for the support on the Aurora video. Again, I think I said that last time, but it's at 1.2k at the moment. Amazing stuff. Thank you very much. So please stay tuned for more videos. I'll have some more. Like I said, the new refurbishment of one of my old projects should be coming soon. I've got another big project in the works as well, which should be rivaling Aurora, you know, but only time will tell with that. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.